AI is definitely changing the voiceover industry. It already has. Some of the more functional voiceover work is increasingly being generated by AI.
Well, especially with AI coming in, let's bring in that word right now. With AI coming in, that face to camera stuff can be done with AI.
It is useful as something that you use as an assistant, however. It is useful within the creative process. It helps with script refinement, for instance, for video work.
AI, is it hype or help? G'day and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Pete Cooper, and our topic is AI, hype or help. Today's guest is James Brown from James Brown Media. Yes, it's his own company. He has been a journalist, a video documentary creator, and a voiceover specialist. He does work for companies that need his voice. And when you hear it, you'll understand why. But his industry has been affected quite heavily by the introduction of AI. So this is going to be an interesting chat. Let's get into it. G'day, James. How you doing? Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Pete. Very nice to be here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. James, you are a voiceover artist, and I can tell straight away why you're a voiceover artist. So it's not hard for me to figure out how you got into this business, but tell us what you do and why you do it.
So I am, a voiceover actor and a video content creator. So I do two different sides of the business, which come together to form James Brown Media, the huge conglomerate that is. But
Yes, I
it's
noticed.
absolutely. But yeah, it's I've started off the main proponent of the business is the voiceover side of things. I've been doing that for full time now for about 4.5, 5 years, and it really stemmed out of my broadcast journalism background, which is what I was doing for the majority of my adult career. So I used to make documentaries. I used to present the news. I used to be a correspondent as well, and when you're doing that, of course, one of the primary skills that you have to have is you have to be able to engage an audience, and you have to be able to do that for people from all sorts of different backgrounds and tailor how you're speaking to them.
Mm,
So
mm,
that kind of being able to forge that kind of connection is the sort of thing that people look for when they want a voice to either represent their brand, deliver an important message, train their staff, give a character some life or some fun, or or to make people take a certain action at the end of the day, because
mm,
that's also something that's very important if of course, you're putting together a commercial.
mm. Oh, great background. So journalism, being a correspondent, did you say? So that's an overseas correspondent. I mean, I'm thinking
Yeah.
of all of the hotspots around the world right now. Did you get yourself into any of those sort of situations where it was a bit
I had a few
scary?
dicey situations, but no,
Dicey, yeah.
I stay. I mean, I was based in Russia for the vast majority of my professional journalism career, and I was all over that country, which is an amazing place. This was
Mm,
in friendlier times,
mm,
up
yeah,
to towards sort of the late 2000s and the mid 2010s,
mm,
which is where I was doing the majority of my work in Russia,
yeah,
and it was incredible, very, very, very interesting. It's just such an enormous country. You come from a tiny country like mine.
mm,
It's very,
mm,
very difficult to kind of conceive of the sheer size of a place like Russia, but
mm.
it has over 80 different regions. I
Oh,
went to the vast majority of those and made films in each of them. Huge amount of different culture and cultural backgrounds of its people. The vast
mm,
majority of Russia is in Asia, which of course
mm,
is not necessarily perhaps something you even think of when you look at
mm.
perhaps a traditional Russian. So there's a
Yep.
huge amount of different and unusual things to see and do over there, where people, of course, tend to associate it more with Moscow and St. Petersburg, the famous rich cities.
Mm,
But
mm.
it's an enormous place with a great deal to see and a great deal to do, and it was
Yeah.
fascinating.
I mean, I was in Finland, and tell you about my history, in the late 90s, and my wife
Yeah,
and I were keen to go over to St. Petersburg. We never made it, and I do regret that because it was quite close and it was very
yeah,
open and it was the whole thing was opening up. I mean, when did the Berlin Wall came down? In the early 90s, I think it was 91.
91, yeah.
And so from 91 to 98 or 97 when I was there, I did get over to Estonia, and at that stage, Estonia was one of those countries that was emerging out of the Soviet bloc, and the buildings were still a bit run down, but it was clearly on the up and up, and huge, huge changes. So much for the better for all of those countries around the Baltic states, including Finland. But I never got to Russia. Must have been, must be fascinating. And you spent significant amount of time there, so you really know it. Did this
Yeah.
craft your voice? I mean, you have a great voice, James. Is this something you were born with or something that you've developed?
I think that, thank you very much. It's something that you have to train in for voiceover. It's like
Mm,
there, and the reason I say that is like some people think if you can talk, you can do VO, and you can pick up a mic for sure and talk into it,
mm,
but you won't get voiceover work that way. I think that primarily it is about being able to communicate with an audience. If you
mm.
can communicate with other people on a human level, obviously this is going to segue into something we'll talk about later.
Yes.
Um, that's very important because forming that connection either with a customer or with someone watching what you do or listening, of course, to if you're doing something like an audio book, it's very important that you're able to draw them in and make it believable, make it interesting, make it funny,
Mm,
make it something that's worth their time.
right.
And you have to be always worth their time.
Mm,
Uh,
yes.
and
Yes.
and that takes time because when if you don't know who your audience is, then you can't really speak to them. So trying to find out about like who the people you're communicating to is a big part of the VO job, as it is of
Right.
course in a lot of journalism work as well. That
Mm,
you're communicating to a certain people, and of course you want to retain that audience and,
yeah.
and make sure that they take it in.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think just fundamentally marketing, I think we can always make a mistake in marketing of saying, well, there's a huge demand out here. Let's just go out and go and address that demand. And everybody needs, for example, everybody needs AI. Let's go and market ourselves to companies that need AI. And then you're diluting a message because you're not really focused on any particular audience. Um, I definitely can resonate with that. And when you're doing your voiceover work, you're trying to figure that out as part of the marketing front end, I guess, and a part of the service that you offer is giving some guidance to companies that are doing this kind of content creation.
So definitely, it's a lot, absolutely, with voiceover. You have to think about okay, who are we targeting here? So, for instance, if you're doing, let's say, if I'm doing a Hasbro commercial, then I'm targeting that to a young audience, a fun audience who needs a lot of energy and excitement. If I'm targeting something to, these are extreme examples, I suppose, but if I'm targeting something that I know is going to appeal to, that has to appeal to an older audience, you probably turn it down. Maybe you try and put some dry humor in there. Maybe you ad lib a little bit.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
one of the most popular styles of read is, to be honest with you, just like we're doing now, though. It has to sound. It's called the conversational read. It's supposed to be friendly. It's supposed to be believable. It's supposed to be very low pressure, and it's something that companies love because it sounds like you're talking to a friend, and that's what they want in a lot of situations.
interesting. Well, I mean, I did a bit of face to camera work before we got in. I got into the podcasting side of things, and it was suggested to me actually to do it.
Yeah,
I didn't naturally do it. I thought the face to camera would be the better form of content, but it really didn't feel like it was working. It was actually quite difficult to script everything up and deliver it and edit it and get it up there. And I feel like, well, there's plenty of successful people doing that.
yeah.
Can I do that too? But I think the podcast, well, especially with AI coming in, let's bring in that word right now. With AI coming in, that face to camera stuff can be done with AI. I mean, we've experimented with it. We've got tools that take my face,
Yeah.
take my voice, and represent that. So uh, that's watering that whole segment or that category or however you describe it, that type of content, watering it down. But the podcast seems to be a little bit immune to that because it is a real conversation between two people, and we don't know what we're going to say to each other. I'm going to screw something up, probably, and maybe it's funny. Maybe I say the wrong thing.
But that's again, that's part of what makes us human, isn't it? Is the elements of imperfection in it, and you're absolutely right. I think that audio as a whole is a much more forgiving medium to work in than video. Video is if you screw up a shot, a particular shot, and you go back and you find that you've screwed it up, you can maybe correct it, but sometimes it simply means going back to the place where you need to shoot and shooting the thing again.
Yeah.
Whereas if I screw up a take when I'm doing a book or a character or something else, I can just go back and record over it.
Oh, okay.
It,
Yeah.
it's like
Mm.
it's a lovely forgiving medium that you can go back and correct your mistakes in.
Yeah.
Video, it's much harder to do that, and obviously the joins are very clear. Not that
Mm.
that's actually necessarily something that's back in the day, of course, when you were making adverts and you had these lovely smooth and heavy, big budget ads that come in, and of course you still see now on the TV and what have you. But the social media ads, the stuff that I do actually, the UGC stuff tends to be fast paced jump cuts, and people don't mind that the all the lines are visible, so to speak. So
Mm.
it's definitely a more I think it's a more unforgiving medium, but you can get away with more now in video than you used to be able to.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I noticed that too. I get my guys to edit my stuff, and there will be the head jumps all the time.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
seems to be that's not really a problem.
No,
But if I don't get the audio right, hence I've got the microphone. If I have bad audio, it's almost unforgiving, and people just will not listen to it. So I've got to
very
get
true.
the audio quality right, even if the video quality isn't. And I think for this kind of format, this podcast format, as we're right in the middle of it right now, a lot of people don't actually watch it. They listen to it. I know I'm like
Yeah.
that. I'll be doing something outside or in the shed, and I'll just have it on and I'll listen to it. I won't even watch it. It's nice to know that there are two real people, and
Mm.
I might watch it occasionally. And I know it's not some manufactured AI generated content. It's real people, and that's it. Then I'm off. Um,
I
just
agree.
listening
Almost
to it.
almost all the podcast stuff I listen to and the long form stuff, I listen in the car.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if you're doing a long trip up to somewhere, then it's like, oh right, I could get an audiobook done this time because
Hmm.
it's as much as it would be lovely to sit down and read a lovely big book, don't have a great deal of time to do it these days. But
No,
I can
no.
pop it on 1.5 speed or something in the car and get through a decent chunk.
Yeah, yeah. And I know many people do that too. And I do it as well. And we often talk about what we learned on a podcast where we were in the car. Get out of My wife and I traveled up to upstate New York over the weekend, did exactly that. We were listening to some podcasts that she was interested in. I follow a guy in Australia called Dr. Carl. I don't know whether you know him, famous scientist fella,
Only the
doctor.
guy from Neighbours, but I don't think it's that one.
No, it's not that one. That guy from Neighbours, Dr. Carl. No, I should introduce you to. I think you'd like Dr. Carl, Australian guy. He's been around since the 70s, I think, and doing this stuff in the 80s. And it was on ABC TV, and now he does
Okay.
podcasts, and he's really, really good, really good. Um, so you're in the UK now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what's happening in the UK right now, especially with regards to AI. Let's start talking about how you're being affected by AI.
So AI is definitely changing the voiceover industry. It already has. Some of the more functional voiceover work is increasingly being generated by AI.
Mm,
So there are things like internal drafts, temporary voice tracks, basic product videos, often things that need to be produced in quite a high volume. That people are looking to use AI for. Basically, if quality isn't so much of a isn't the be all and end all, I don't. I understand people try to save money. I
Mm,
can understand why people would use it, um, and they are.
mm,
The voiceover industry is definitely it's down. It's certainly down in volume on than this time last year. I don't know a huge amount of other voiceover artists who are having a particularly great 2026, I'll admit. Um, what it is doing is, I think it makes genuinely human performance more valuable, though, because when you listen to an AI voice or when you hear something, it's like, do you feel anything? Do you believe it? Does it make the does it make the sentiment behind it sound distinctive?
yep.
Does it make it sound real?
Yes.
Because is it just a voice telling you information, or is it just a pleasant voice? Does it have
Mm,
any acting ability? Can it
mm,
understand what it's saying?
mm.
The thing is that fundamentally with a machine has never lived, a machine has never loved, a machine has never experienced life.
Experience. Mm,
It's never lost, never cried. It's never understood what it means to have something important happen to it and maybe having something important taken away.
right.
It doesn't have that. It can only extrapolate from what people feed into it.
Mm,
Uh, and that leaves gaps.
mm, mm, mm.
That leaves gaps that a human being um, is able to fill with their own lived experience. If you add good training into that, that's where a human voiceover should be
Mm.
able to be a more valuable and a more useful thing for people to keep using.
Yeah.
They also have acting ability, you see.
Mm,
E-learning and things, for instance, that are more, let's say, like health and safety type of things, perhaps.
mm-hmm,
AI does quite a lot more of those.
mm-hmm.
Not all the time, but does do some. But there's a big backlash if you try to put AI into video games, and there's a big
Really
backlash if you try to put AI into audiobooks.
interesting.
People
So,
don't believe it.
right. There's a key word that keeps coming up in my mind. It's being relatable.
Yeah.
Um, there's a famous comedian lady who had a day show. Day show. She went. I forget the name of her. Come to me in a minute. But she was saying, "No, we can't have." There was her directors and producers. So we can't have you back. You're not relatable. She was too
Yeah,
wealthy.
yeah.
She was too
Yeah.
wealthy, and so she went on tour talking about how relatable she was by talking about simple things like getting out of the shower and having to walk 20 or 30 paces across the bathroom to get to her towel. And then she put one because her feet were cold. And so she put the towel down and so she made it very funny that she was wealthy, but she still had these very small but kind of trivial little human um, things that we could all relate to. Getting out of the shower
Yes.
and walking across the tile floor with cold feet isn't
Absolutely.
something we
Especially
enjoy. We
30
throw a
pace.
towel down.
Yes.
But she made it relatable, even though she was very wealthy. And
Yeah.
I thought it was very clever what she did. You're exactly right. I mean, there's no consequences to an AI generated voice. It can say anything and get away with it. Okay, you don't like what it said. Let's delete the instance, and immediately there's another instance there. If
It
I'm a
does.
human being, I have consequences to what I do.
I mean, I understand that, for instance, I react in a certain way to AI.
Mm,
That it's like, oh God, I can tell, and I can
mhm,
tell quickly. I, but I don't think that is just me. And I think that there's like, I
mm.
go on to videos on YouTube, for instance, and then you'll see either, and you can hear it's an AI voice because it
Yes.
just it doesn't move enough. There's not enough variety in anything that's coming through. Um, or you go on to Facebook or whatever, and then up pops an AI ad. The ones that I see all the time at the moment, I don't. They've probably made their way over the Atlantic. They may even have started there. Are
Mm,
things like for blokes who are about like our age, I would say it's either military calisthenics that they want you to do, or
hmm.
Tai Chi chair
Okay.
exercises, and it's
Right.
either a monk who's been carved from stone, or a GI who's been carved out of a brick, and and it's inevitably some disappointed wife sort of looking at her husband as who's got fat, who's got AI fat. And he's like, and then he just gets says, "Give me 28 days." And of course, in 28 days, as we all know, he then just turns into a six pack
Oh yes,
monster
a
because
god.
he's
Yes.
done his chair tai chi, and of
Yeah.
course it's very very believable. But it's like, oh God, I wonder if they sell. I genuinely do, because it's just like, what is this? It's so funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's this thing. I mean, we watch the conflict that's going on, between Ukraine and Russia, and they keep talking about this quantity has a quality of its own. And maybe that's the philosophy here. You can produce so much quantity of AI generated content so cheaply that in a
Yeah,
way it kind of starts to cut through and have a quality of its own.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of something to mock of those things, yes, for sure. Um, I think
Mm,
that there's, I mean, AI will replace things like that where you need something inexpensive and you need something functional. And
right.
most of my fellow VOs understand that, and because it doesn't help with any of us to bury our heads in the sand.
Mm, mm, mm,
Um, it is useful as something that you use for as an assistant. However, it
mm,
is useful within the creative process. It helps with script refinement, for instance,
mhm,
for video
mhm,
work.
mhm,
It's something that you can feed ideas into and get some ideas to bounce back.
mm,
It helps with social media ideas. It can
mm.
help kind of if you have a block, it can give you a nudge. It can
Yep.
also help organize things, and it removes certain repetitive work, and you can then spend more of the time that adds genuine value, which
Mm,
should be your interpretation, your creativity, and adding that connection. So
mm, mm,
it's
mm,
generative AI is a bit different though, and can be used obviously, that get used all the time, but it is essentially theft of other people's work that's just been
mm.
scraped off
So
the
it's
internet.
possible for someone to take your voice, even your face, right, and
Yeah,
replicate you, and
yeah,
it looks to the casual observer that it's you with your great voice and everything, and it's very hard to stop that happening, right? Because your content's
very.
out there, and
Yeah, it
that's
is. It's very hard, and obviously things do get scraped. And
yeah.
I've had colleagues who've ended up on places like Fish Audio.
Mm,
There are quite high profile cases that Equity and SAG-AFTRA are fighting at the moment, with a number of people who've had their voices cloned
mm,
without their permission.
hmm.
And I mean, it's serious stuff, because
Yeah,
you're taking somebody's livelihood away.
absolutely. Yeah.
It's no joke. So you can license your own voice, of course. You can do that with certain AI companies and produce one which you then have control over. That's different.
Hmm.
But if it's just nicked, put onto the web, and then someone just starts using it and calling it you, that's the thing. Of course, you end up saying, right, this is James Brown's voice, or this is whoever's voice,
Yeah.
and you then pass it off as them.
Yeah.
And of
Yeah.
course, there's no compensation for that. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's so
that's when
disruptive
it's
too, isn't
damaging.
it? I mean, coming from the tech side of things, software, and we've seen this incredible reduction in the cost of building out software. It used to be the case that that building of the portal or the software was the moat, like the building of it was so expensive and difficult that that was the reason you existed as a company. That's almost gone now.
Mm,
So because you can literally look at that portal and get AI in a short period of time, let's call it a weekend, to replicate what's already there, and then you've got your company there competing directly with them. That's enormously disruptive.
yeah.
And your world has also been shaken up. But you said something that I wanted to focus on, and that was there is an area which is, I think you said, we use the words high quality content, which
Mm,
still requires um, a person, a real person. How would you define this high quality content? Where's it used?
You need you need great storytelling
Mm,
to make something connect properly. I think so. I think that tech can improve a delivery. It can make content look better and sound better. But if you're telling the message in a confusing way, an irrelevant way, or a way that the emotion isn't coming through, then it's dead anyway.
right.
So you can tart something up, but if you don't know how to tell a story in a way that people will want to listen to, then you cannot you cannot deliver a message properly, and people
Right.
won't listen to you.
Mm,
So it's you know it's quite simple at its foundations. You've got to understand the audience, identify what they care about, and give them a reason to keep listening to the very end.
mm. Do you,
That's what you need.
do you think that AI could solve that problem of storytelling?
I don't think so because again, I don't think it can deliver information, but
Mm,
it can't act. It
mm,
can't. That's
mm,
why people don't want it in video games. They don't want it in their world building. They don't want it in things like Warhammer. They don't want it in their fantasy epics. They don't want
mm,
it in that because it doesn't work. Because the whole point of that is the escapism, the idea that that you are creating something otherworldly, that you are using your imagination. AI does not have imagination. Doesn't have it.
no,
It cannot
no.
do it.
In a
It
way, it has the opposite to
yeah.
imagination. I have this thought in mind I often use as an analogy where it's kind of almost an averaging effect. Everything's going towards, because there's so much information and it's largely a predictive engine. What is the next word in an
Yeah.
LLM case? What is the next word? The cat sat on the mat. Everything isn't going to be the mat. Maybe the
Yeah.
cat sat on the dog. Maybe the cat sat on the chair, and so this is this kind of averaging effect, which forces everything down one. I guess it's kind of like a hive mind, a little bit scary in the sense. Are we all just heading around towards some point where we all think the same, do the same, act the same because we're following the AI?
Oh, well, this is another topic, isn't it? It's like kind of is AI making us dumber because we type everything into Chat GPT to give us the answers, you know?
Yes, yes.
Whereas it's are we losing the ability to critically think? That is worrying
Mm,
because I mean
mm,
because it's just it's so easy. It's
mm.
just so easy,
Yeah,
like
it is. Yeah.
to get that out of. And if we never have to solve problems, we will end up getting more stupid because the brain won't take the harder option deliberately.
Yep.
It's found a way to make its life easier.
Yep.
So that's but you do need to sharpen it with hard work and with thought
Mm,
because if you don't, you end up getting dementia. Uh,
mm.
and it's just simply proven that if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
To keep using it, it's very, very, very dangerous to end up like physically, of course, as well. It's
Mm,
if you stop exercising and you start getting into middle age and older age, you find that everything starts hurting more. I mean, it will start hurting more anyway, but it
mm,
hurts more quicker and things
mm,
go wrong faster. And then you
mm,
end up weak and miserable.
mm.
And, if you end up weak, miserable, and with your brain in a not having been used as much as it's supposed to, it's the wonderful muscle. It's what makes us
Yeah.
us, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the thing that it's just it's very tempting to use it all the time, but and just feed everything into it and say, okay, well, make me 2,000 LinkedIn posts and off you go. I'll never have to do social media again. But again, it doesn't work because it's like
Yeah.
it's just too obvious, and there's
Mm,
no hot, and people don't want this isn't anything to do with you. You just
mm, mm.
this doesn't tell me anything really. I can tell that you have zero input into this
Yeah.
except for just typing in that prompt.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, yeah. I took on some
Lazy.
staff recently, and they would send me. I would say, look, write me up a plan to do such and such, and the next day I would get a plan in pages and pages with M dashes and all through it. And I'd
Yeah.
say, did you use AI to generate this? And they would say yes. And I'd say, well, that's fine. Okay, let's go through it and see if you actually understood what was created. And sometimes they wouldn't know what it was that what the words actually said. I said, look, I want you to use AI because it's so helpful, but you have to understand every single word in that report before you give it to me because I can do the same thing. In fact, I can do that job much better than you by prompting AI and getting a report or a plan. You
Yeah.
have to use your brain to make sure that this what you're giving me is good stuff. And we got over that. So we were able to get the result without and leveraging what I'm saying is leveraging AI, not relying on AI to do the work.
Yes.
I think that's where the future is. Um,
I don't disagree with you with that, and it's as a sort of virtual assistant for some tasks, coordinating leads, for instance, and lead generation. Actually, I find that it's been very, very helpful. I think that with creative stuff, like I say, I think it's good as something to give you a kick in the arse. If I'm allowed
mm.
to say that on your podcast, but it shouldn't replace you as the primary driver of what goes into your content, because
Mm.
then it loses its heart and it loses its soul, and it just becomes, you get into the AI slop sort of thing,
Right.
which people are
Yep.
people don't want to see. They're not interested in it. There's too much of it already. It's too obvious, and it isn't working
Yeah.
in terms in terms of selling to people. So
Yeah. So information delivery was something that you think is bringing the cost of that down, rather than here's where I'm going with this. I'm thinking, I want to listen to James Brown. I want to watch a podcast. I want to watch a video from James Brown, but I want to know what he feels when he's in, Siberia in the
yeah,
middle of winter. And that I want to relate to that. I want him to relate to me what it feels like to be in
sure,
Siberia in the
yeah.
middle of winter as a human being with all of our aches and pains and all of our suffering. And that's what I'm going to be drawn to. I don't want an AI bot giving me information about the temperature and the strength of the wind and whatever information
Mm,
there is. It's to me, it's that related experience which is so very important for us as humans, I think.
I agree. It's yeah. Otherwise, you wouldn't. That's what makes those documentaries and what have you, and survival documentaries so compelling, because I suppose it's putting. It may not necessarily be relatable to be stuck out on a desert island or whatever, but you can see people going through that is an incredible watch. Of course it is, because it's like,
Yeah.
wow, it's taking it's the limit of human endurance or human experience and what we can
Mm.
actually do. We're pretty amazing as a species. We do still keep wanting to advance ourselves, and athletes to keep getting faster, and people are still drawn to create things, and
Yep. Yep.
writers still want to write in many
Mm.
ways. There's still a lot of things in the brain that people want to get out there.
Yeah. And I think
Thankfully, thankfully there is.
I mean, I always think of it, the caveman, even going back to sort of, you know, the being mammals and being, I guess, apes being tribal, right?
Yeah,
And having that need just for survival to be in a troop. A monkey on his own can't live. Like a chimpanzee gets banished, they die.
yeah,
It's the troop that binds us. So we've developed over millions of years to rely on each other, to need each other, and to
sure.
figure each other out so we can cooperate and coordinate in harmony so we survive. And I think that's not going anywhere. And I think AI cannot do that, cannot give us that without us changing our brain somehow, we're going to always need to have other people and being able to relate to them and all those other things that makes us social. Yeah.
I think it's vital. I mean, it's like, you can't use AI to kill a saber-toothed tiger, can you? Never mind. You need your
Well,
mates with some spears.
there are these robots that Elon Musk is creating.
Or maybe
Maybe
you
they
can
could
now.
be.
You just send up a drone, I suppose. Maybe it could kill a poor tiger.
Yeah, poor saber-toothed
A bit
tiger doesn't
late.
know what's coming.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So I like to go back to pre-internet because I was around before the internet, and I'm
So
gonna
was I, think.
and I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring you up to before AI and to what I used to say.
Hmm.
So here's the story. When I wanted to know something, let's say I want to know the biggest ship in the world, I'd ask my mum, she wouldn't know. My dad wouldn't know. They would say, go and find a book. I wouldn't have a book. I'd go to the library and I would spend my lunchtime trying to find a book about the biggest ship. that existed, asking my friends, nobody knows. Maybe I would find it if I spent my whole, instead of running around with my mates and having my lunch and having a good time, I would find that little piece of information. Before AI, all I had to do was type into Google or a search engine and I would have that answer within seconds.
Mm.
That was a long way to come, right? From there to there.
Yeah.
Now it's now from there to now it's even easier, right? It's I don't even have to with pre-AI, I used to have to type the question into Google and I would have to go and search a few pages.
Hmm.
Now it's even easier than that. I can ask it any question, it'll come back with an answer.
Yeah.
Access to information has taken another big leap forward. And I think it
Yeah.
comes back to your point. When it comes to information, AI is really useful.
Yes.
But when it comes to these other things we're talking about, social connection, the need to be relatable, the need to tell a story, that's where we still need people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree, and even so, it took a long time for us to get to that, to get to the libraries, didn't it? Then we're only going back 2,000 years.
Right.
If it's 4,000 years to when people started inscribing information onto onto tablets and papyrus,
Mm,
and a lot of that information was lost through conquests and things throughout history. And then we started to collate it more and more. We only got the first dictionary, didn't we, in the 18th century?
mm, mm,
And
mm,
that took thousands of years of human evolution for us to get to that point. And
mm.
really, in the last 20, look what's happened.
Yeah.
It's quite it's mind blowing because it's gone on a very slow trajectory, and then it's just suddenly gone whoosh, almost
Yeah.
vertical
Yeah.
in terms of what we've been able to um, gain access to and produce.
So you and
Very
I think you're a little bit younger than me, James. You've been flattering through this. But what about young people that are coming in now with
the young
access to
people.
AI from the get-go?
Yes.
What's happening to them? Because you and I grew up without AI and perhaps without the internet. I mean, I
Well,
did
I
have a
mean, I
library.
I have two boys. So
Hmm.
my littlest boy is only 1.5, so he's not using too much AI at the moment. But my
Hmm.
10-year-old, he's using some in school, and he talks to Chat GPT when so he like like me and a lot of other kids loves his video games.
Hmm.
Um, and he creates these scenarios using ChatGPT sometimes into these wild stories that feature Sonic and Mario
Hmm.
and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and they all come together in this sort of crazy
Yeah.
hybrid of a tale. And of course, he has enormous fun with that.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and that's a lot of that's a lot of fun in terms of like creating something
So he
imagined.
uses the voice prompt on ChatGPT and he prompts it with his
Yeah,
ideas and it creates these stories
it
with
creates
these
the story
characters.
scenarios. Yeah, yeah, it
Wow.
creates those scenarios for him, and it can do it in seconds.
He's a natural storyteller then, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Lots of the big imagination. So
A chip
everyone,
off the old block, would you say that?
I don't know. He's one of a kind. Is my daddy.
It's good. That's wonderful. So that's a really positive story. I like to hear that. I mean, I use
Yeah.
it too, and I've sort of something in my mind. I don't want to burden other people with it. I just want to hear some feedback. It's almost therapeutic to have that exchange with ChatGPT on the voice. Mm, so much fun.
Don't get me wrong. I use AI very frequently, very very
Mm,
frequently.
mm.
I find it very useful in terms of
Yep,
organization and things like that,
yep,
creating like
yep.
schedules, planning. It's there are tools there that are great in terms of helping me find, for instance, people that I might want to connect with or reach out to say, hopefully, I can do a human voiceover or make a video
Mm,
for that'll help your brand.
mm,
Um, that's very helpful and it saves an enormous amount of time. And of course, like a lot of creative people, that sort of side of things is not very fun. We want to be doing the fun stuff because we like it.
mm,
So it
mm,
ways to cut that down. Um, you take it for
mm.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's certainly a useful way to cut down
Mm,
in the business.
yep.
Um, And it's AI can just be like the thing is that there's a real person on the other side of the screen, um, and they're giving you some of their attention, and you have to respect that.
Yes.
So it's when you are using your AI tools, it's not necessarily like sort of what can this AI tool create. The first question should be, what does this person need from me?
Oh, yes. I like that. Yeah.
You see, so the AI may then be able to help you communicate that answer a bit more quickly.
Mm,
But the message has to be thinking about like what's important for my end audience here.
yeah. Yeah. I agree. James, we're almost running out of time here. Do you have any questions or comments that you want to make before we wrap up?
Um, no, I think we've covered a lot of bases there, to be honest with
Mm,
you. I do think it's a very interesting topic. And like I say, it's a worry for a lot of people in my industry. It is
yeah.
because
Yeah.
some people 100% are being forced out. There's fewer. The lower end of the market is certainly being chopped at by AI.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. Okay.
but ideally, if you hopefully have put yourself in a position, or you're trying to put yourself in a position to appeal um, to better clients, and you have a service which is proven to either to sell or to connect or to create that bond with the listeners, you can concentrate on finding the clients that still want that human service. So
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
terms of sort of perhaps pushing you to the to bigger and better things, it does have that effect. In again, with a lot of things, you have to adapt or die.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do about 70% voiceover now and about 30% video.
Okay.
So that's come in. It's something that obviously was there from the journalism days and the days in front of the camera. I'm kind of adding in the user generated content, video and ads as something that sort of, for me at least, puts most of my skill set to use as opposed to just one piece.
Right. Mm,
So it forces you to. It has forced me to adapt, and it forces a lot of us to adapt or die, isn't it? Then
yeah.
again,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm. Adapt or die. So, fun final question for you, James. AI, is it hype or help?
Uh, I think it can be a very powerful help.
Yeah.
There's hype around it because I think that some businesses use AI because they feel that it's trendy. It's
Mm-hmm.
nice to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that all the things that they put in improve the customer's experience. You know,
Mm,
your wonderful chatbots and things like that, which inevitably end up with being you just typing human again and again and again
mm.
as it ignores your question. Um, and it can put in a lot of generic content because it's so easy to produce.
Right.
Um, if you use it to if you use it for admin purposes, if you use it to tidy up, if you use it to create lists and spreadsheets that you can then go and use your own creativity to link up with people, to offer them something that makes them want to, for instance, open your email, read the email, and reply to you,
Yeah.
then it's very useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
is it effective though? I suppose it's efficient, but is it effective? It can't, at the end of the day, make people care. And that requires some insight, understanding, and humanity.
Yeah. That's a great answer, James. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll have to have you back and do some more of this stuff. This was a lot of fun.
My pleasure. Love
If you
to
want
come
to,
back.
if you want to stick around after the show, we'll wrap up a couple of things.
Sure.
But thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Pete.
Well, that was great and a lot of fun talking to James. And I think you can tell from his voice why he's a voiceover artist. A few things to summarize the conversation. Number one, AI is having an impact on his business. And the way he summarized it is if you need to do high quantity of delivery of content, then AI is a good tool. But if you want high quality, then you need people. So he's distinguishing himself with his voice and his skills and aiming for a different market. Another key area was cloning. So there are people using AI in a nefarious way to clone people's voices, cloning their face, and rebuilding channels and using them illegally. Now, it's not the same as licensing, where someone can certainly license their voice and their face. This is a nefarious activity that is being born out of AI. And finally, one of the ways of using AI versus people is the difference between delivering content for information. For example, some training material, maybe some HR material, or something that needs to be created by video. That can be done quite well with AI. But when it comes to relating experiences from humans, or storytelling or entertainment, then we agree that humans are definitely a favourite option. If you want to know more about James Brown and what he does, I'll leave some links in the description. If you want to know more about Skillion, please do the same. I hope that helps, and thanks for watching.